Hello, I'm Doug DeWitt, Transfer Paper Product Manager here at Condé Systems. And today, I'm here to give you a brief overview of our inkjet t-shirt transfer paper product line that we carry here at Condé. We carry a variety of different papers depending on your application needs or your production demands. So I'm going to take a little time to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of each paper and how it might relate to your particular production demands. The first thing we're going to cover is exactly how does inkjet t-shirt transfer paper work. Here's a visual demonstration of exactly how inkjet t-shirt transfer papers work. All inkjet t-shirt transfer papers are composed of two layers, the top layer being called the emulsion layer, which absorbs and suspends the liquid ink. The bottom layer is the backing sheet, which is the physical paper sheet that allows you to feed the transfer paper through the printer. The main difference with inkjet transfer paper as opposed to other transfer papers is that the emulsion layer is generally thicker and absorbent in order to be able to suspend and hold a liquid ink. The advantage of most inkjet t-shirt transfer papers is the vibrancy of the print due to the fact that we're using a liquid ink. The disadvantage of inkjet transfer papers is because we're using a thicker, softer emulsion layer, they tend to break down faster on the garment as that garment goes through the washer and dryer. When it comes to printing inkjet t-shirt transfers, one thing that you want to remember is to keep your transfers protected in some type of sealable container until they're ready to be used. If you leave transfer paper out and exposed, what might happen is the transfer paper might absorb moisture from the environment and affect the print quality. But once you're ready to use your transfer paper, simply open up your container and load your transfer paper into your printer. Might need to consult with your printer's manual to find out which side loads. On this particular model, we're loading print side up. Now, people often ask me, what type of inkjet printer can be used? My general guideline is this: any inkjet printer can be used for producing transfers as long as that printer is using a water-based, dye-based, or pigment-based ink. I also recommend that when it comes to a printer, you want to have separate channels for your colors. It'll help save on your overall cost per print. This particular model I'm using is an Epson Stylus 1400 with one of our JetMPrints bulk delivery systems. Now, I'm going to take you over to the computer just to show you some general guidelines for printing inkjet transfers. Now that we're here at the computer, let me walk you through a few basic steps on printing an inkjet transfer. Since I'm operating out of Corel Draw, the first thing I do is select Tools and Color Management to check my color management settings of my document. I want to make sure that I have either an RGB or sRGB profile selected before I send the job to my printer. Once I know I have the proper profile, I click OK. Next, I'll click on File, Print Preview, so that I can access my printer property settings. I do that by clicking on Print Options. Once I have my Print Options screen displayed, I want to make sure that the job is going to my inkjet printer, and I will click on Preferences to access the driver. In Preferences, I want to make sure that I have my print set to photo quality or 720 dpi. I want to make sure that my paper is set at plain paper. Once my property settings are set, I click Apply, OK, and send the job to my inkjet printer. Now that we have our inkjet transfer paper printed, let's discuss some general guidelines for applying that transfer to your t-shirt or garment. First thing that I recommend is using a heavyweight cotton or cotton polyester blend t-shirt. T-shirts that are lightweight, around a 4 to 4.5 ounce cotton weight, usually contain a chemical sizing agent. The problem with chemical sizing agents is that it can wreak havoc with the inkjet transfer emulsion layer, causing it to crack and bleed in the wash, and we definitely don't want that. But since we're using a good heavyweight cotton t-shirt, I'll go ahead and position that t-shirt on my heat press. Next thing I want to do is take a sticky lint roller and lint roll the surface that's going to be within the press just to remove any contaminants that might be on the shirt. Contaminants may affect the quality of the transfer. Next, I'm going to pre-press my t-shirt for a few seconds. This accomplishes a few things. One, It flattens out the area we're going to work with so we have a nice smooth shirt. Also, it drives out any surface moisture that might be within the shirt. The surface moisture might affect how the transfer is applied. But once we have our shirt prepped and ready to go, we simply take our inkjet t-shirt transfer. Now, if it's a transfer for a white or light colored garment, we want to mirror or reverse the print. If it's for a dark garment, we print right side up. But once we have our print, simply position it where we want it to appear on the shirt and lock our heat press into position. At this point, I would recommend that you follow the guidelines and instructions for each inkjet t-shirt transfer paper, because they're all going to have their individual temperatures and times. The one recommendation I will make is do not exceed the temperature recommendation of your inkjet t-shirt transfer paper. With this particular paper, it's at 375 degrees for 30 seconds. If you overheat the transfer, you may cause that transfer to crack or bleed the first time it's washed. Another thing, I want to stretch this transfer while it's still warm to help soften up the hand and give the image some elasticity in case it's going to be stretched. Now that we've shown you some guidelines as far as pressing transfers, let me take this opportunity to discuss our line of transfer papers for white or light colored t-shirts or fabric materials. Here at Condé Systems, we carry 3 distinct t-shirt transfer papers. The first paper here is made by Neenah Paper Company. It's called JetPro SoftStretch. I like JetPro SoftStretch because it's a great general purpose inkjet t-shirt transfer paper. As you can see from this demonstration, it works well not only with line art or clip art, but also does a great job of photographic reproduction. So if you need a general purpose paper, I would recommend JetPro SoftStretch. The one disadvantage of the Neenah JetPro SoftStretch is that it only works with lightweight fabric materials. So if you're pressing onto something heavy, like a cotton canvas, you want to choose a different paper. The paper I would recommend in that case is this paper called Condé JetMPrints. We have stocked JetMPrints for the past 15 years, and it's always been a very dependable paper. The one thing I do like about JetMPrints is it has a very thick emulsion layer, so it's great at photographic reproductions. Also, it works great on your thicker materials, like your canvas or your tweeds. The disadvantage of JetMPrints is the thickness of the emulsion layer. So if you're going with lightweight t-shirts, you probably want to go with JetPro SoftStretch or our third paper, which I'll show you now. This paper is a new paper to Condé Systems called Elasti-Jet. Elasti-Jet is made different than most other inkjet transfer papers, and that is that the emulsion layer is a sprayed-on coating, not a solid film coating. The advantage of the Elasti-Jet is the flexibility of the material. Most inkjet transfers, you might see some cracking if you tried to stretch the image, but Elasti-Jet is designed to stretch with the garment. So if you're using lightweight materials or any type of stretching fabric material, this is definitely a good paper. The disadvantage of having that sprayed-on emulsion coating is it creates pits and valleys in the emulsion. So while it can handle photographs, it may not represent all photographs accurately. You'll have to check your artwork to make certain. Along with our inkjet transfer papers for white or light color garments, Condé also carries transfer papers for dark garments. Our 2 best sellers are Neenah JET-OPAQUE 2 and Conde JetMPrints Opaque. With the Neenah JET-OPAQUE 2, you can see that it's a very good general purpose opaque material, whether you're doing line art or clip art images or whether you're doing photographic reproductions. The advantage of the JET-OPAQUE 2 is that it is the least expensive opaque material on the market, so it lends itself well to profitability. The disadvantage of the JET-OPAQUE 2 is that you have to use a 100% cotton t-shirt in order to be able to use the opaque material. If you try using a shirt with a polyester blend, you may have what's called dye migration, where the dyes from the polyester fabric bleed into the white base of the opaque material and distort the color on top. Our next best-selling opaque material for inkjets is our Conde JetMPrints Opaque. What you will notice about the JetMPrints Opaque is, one, it gives a much glossier finish than the Neenah JET-OPAQUE. And this is because we're able to use the backing sheet as a cover sheet in order to gloss up the image, to make it look more like a photograph. Another good advantage of the JetMPrints Opaque is that because it has that gloss backing sheet, it works very well with any type of optical or vinyl cutter. So if you're using opaque material and you need to trim out your designs with an optical cutter, you want to go with the Conde JetMPrints Opaque. Thank you for watching our video presentation on our inkjet t-shirt transfer paper line here at Conde Systems. If you have any questions regarding our t-shirt transfer papers or need any additional information, don't hesitate to contact one of our account managers directly at 1-800-826-6332, or you can visit our website at www.conde.com. My name's Doug DeWitt, Transfer Paper Product Manager here at Conde Systems. My time is up. I thank you for yours.